Okay, so let's set the scene. But we're not on Earth. Imagine a stage set in the heavens themselves. We're about to tune into this celestial courtroom drama. It's a timeless battle between unwavering faith and that relentless, cynical voice we all know. This is the heavenly prologue to the Wager of Januarius.
So we open in heaven, and it's filled with this beautiful sound from the chorus of the saved. Their song paints this incredible picture of a universe in perfect harmony, a divine machine where everything has a crystal clear purpose. It's just a vision of pure, untroubled faith.
And just like that, bam, that perfect harmony is completely shattered. This is our antagonist, Mephistopheles, and he has just crashed the party with the sharp, sneering dose of his reality. He basically scoffs at all the praise, calling it naive, and paints a picture of humanity as futile, animalistic, and ultimately meaningless.
This interruption is brilliant because it sets the stage for the entire conflict. On one side, you've got this heavenly song of creation, and on the other, the spirit of cynical negation. This isn't just a small disagreement. It's a fundamental debate about the very worth of humanity itself.
And who's presiding over this whole debate? Well, that's the Lord. His voice is described as calm, powerful. He's not getting angry or defensive. He represents this all-knowing perspective that sees a deeper purpose, one that others, especially Mephistopheles, just can't seem to grasp.
And his counterpart, Mephistopheles, he's the eternal critic. The script literally calls him a spirit of cynical negation. His whole reason for being is to find the fault, to mock the effort, and to argue that everything just falls apart into meaninglessness in the end. He's that restless ghost who always shows up to say, nope, not good enough.
This right here, this slide, just lays out the core argument perfectly. Where heaven sees humanity's endless striving as this noble quest, Mephistopheles looks at the exact same thing and just sees a pointless scramble that returns to dust. For every single positive, he's got a cynical, dismissive comeback.
So how does the Lord respond? Not with anger, but with a really pointed question, a challenge. He's basically asking Mephistopheles, are you so obsessed with finding fault that you're completely blind to anything good? Is there really nothing and no one on earth of any value in your eyes?
Now, in response to this challenge, Mephistopheles pivots. He hears that question, and you can just see the gears turning. The abstract debate is about to get very, very specific, focusing on what he sees as a ridiculous example down on earth. He brings up this figure, a martyred bishop, Saint Januarius, who you might also know as San Gennaro. And the thing he wants to mock is the saint's most famous legacy, a little glass vial that holds his dried blood, kept as a holy relic.
And Mephistopheles just lays out the ritual with absolute contempt. He describes this foolish flock gathering to pray over a simple clot of blood, hoping it'll magically turn back into liquid. He frames the whole thing as pure superstition, a silly little show where people panic about disasters if the blood doesn't perform on cue.
He then throws this so-called miracle right back in the Lord's face, calling it a parlor trick. He's asking, is this really the grand divine plan? A martyred saint reduced to a sideshow act that depends on his blood liquefying? To Mephistopheles, it's just embarrassing.
But the Lord, he offers a completely different take on it. He calmly explains that Mephistopheles, for all his clever observations, is missing the entire point. The physical event, the blood changing, isn't the real miracle. The true miracle is the living faith it inspires. It's just a vessel, a way to guide people to something much, much deeper.
Uh-oh. Mephistopheles sees this difference in perspective as a huge strategic opening. He hears the Lord defending faith and thinks, ooh, a new game. And so he proposes they put this very idea to the test, with a wager.
And here are his terms. He basically says, let me at him. He wants permission to go down there and actively undermine their faith. His whole plan is to introduce doubt and cynicism by showing them that their miracle is nothing more than a simple, explainable scientific phenomenon. He wants to turn this sacred object into a cold, meaningless curiosity.
So, what is this simple trick he's talking about? Well, it's a real-world scientific principle called thixotrophy. It's the property that some substances have where they turn from a gel-like solid into a liquid just by being shaken or stirred. This is the weapon Mephistopheles is going to use, and it's perfect for his worldview, right? Reducing a sacred mystery to a predictable mechanical process.
And the Lord?
He accepts the wager without a moment's hesitation. He gives Mephistopheles the green light, telling him to go ahead and try his worst. He has complete confidence that human faith is way more resilient than Mephistopheles gives it credit for. He believes people will hold fast to what's sacred, no matter what science says.
This final statement from the Lord, well, it's his whole argument in one sentence. It's his ultimate expression of faith in humanity. He believes that, yeah, people can be foolish and they could be tempted, but at their core, good people will eventually find their way to the right path. This is why he's so sure he'll win the wager.
And the prologue ends with Mephistopheles all by himself, and he is absolutely loving this. He doesn't see it as some profound test. To him, it's just a fine new game. He is supremely confident that the good man's path is easily outrun. He's ready to set his plan in motion and just watch the chaos unfold.
And that's where we're left hanging. Is the miracle of January's blood a profound test of faith, a vessel for something divine? Or is it just a parlor trick, a superstition that's waiting to be debunked by science? The wager is set, and the answer? Well, it ultimately depends on where we choose to place our own belief.